أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد، حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته المنتجبين. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله، صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة يا مظلوم يا شهيد يا غريب كربلاء. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. واعلموا أنما غنمتم من شيء فإن لله خمسه وللرسول ولذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. A second for the love of Imams al-Hassan wal-Hussein. A third for the love of Fatima al-Zahra with your loudest voices. One of the controversial subjects in Shia Islam that is sometimes avoided, sometimes misused, sometimes taken advantage of, and at most times misunderstood, is the concept of Khums, which is 20% of the surplus of our income. This is a subject that is misunderstood by many. Some have taken advantage of this subject to attack Shia Islam and to accuse Shia scholars of theft and robbery. A lot of vagueness and confusion surrounds this subject. As we know that followers of Ahlul Bayt believe in Khums, believe in the legislation of Khums, while our Sunni brothers and sisters do not believe in Khums, nor practice Khums, nor offer Khums. What is the reason behind this difference? Why is it that we followers of Ahlul Bayt believe in Khums while they do not? The main debate surrounds the verse that I just recited from Surah Al-Anfal. However, there is much debate on this verse because the verse mentions the word ma ghanimtum, and there is a debate, what does this word mean, ma ghanimtum? This is one debate. Another debate is that the verse mentions 6 categories, as we shall talk about. 6 categories are mentioned. However, some say, why is it that you followers of Ahlul Bayt, you divide Khums into 2 portions, Sahm al-Imam and Sahm al-Sadiq, while the verse is very clear. It divides Khums into 6 sections. Why did you make it into 2? These are among the misconceptions surrounding the concept of Khums. There are others who have come and debated the issue of corruption in the system of Khums. Is there corruption? Are there some who misuse the money that is spent on Khums? They misuse it for personal use? Are there some representatives and some groups and some organizations that misuse Khums? Is there corruption in Khums or no? This is one of the misconceptions surrounding the concept of Khums. Others say, why is it that we have to give our Khums to our maraja? I am a businessman living here in America, while my marja is sitting somewhere in Najaf. I earn my money, I earn my living. Why is it that I have to give 20% of the surplus of my income to a person sitting all across the world who I've never met, and he doesn't even know me and doesn't know my name? Is this fair? Why is it that my money and my khums has to go to this person? Some might ask that we are already paying income tax in this country. Do I still have to pay khums while I pay income tax? Is there any relevance? And is khums relevant today? Or is it a time in which we should call out the system and install, for example, another system? These are some of the misconceptions surrounding khums. These are some of the questions that we would like to offer answers to within the limited time, within our capability. Insha'Allah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. First of all, regarding our debate with our Sunni brothers and sisters, is khums wajib or not wajib? We have to come to the judge, and the judge between us is the Quran. All Muslims accept the Quran as a legitimate source of Islamic law, as a legitimate source of Sharia. Let's come to the Quran and let's see, what does the Quran say regarding khums? Is it wajib? Is it not wajib? We come to Surah Al-Anfal, to the verse that I recited a few minutes ago. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ إِن كُنتُمْ آمَنْتُم بِاللَّهِ. This is the verse of debate and discussion. Does it prove that khums is wajib or no? Our Sunni brothers and sisters, when they study this verse, they say that it does not entail that khums is wajib regarding the surplus of our income. They say that وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم, غَنِمْتُم comes from ghanima, and ghanima means the spoils of war. It literally means the spoils of war. So the verse is saying that, oh you Muslims, If you engage in war, and there were spoils of war, meaning what you gained from the enemy army, their weapons, their infantry, their horses, their cars, their rockets, whatever it is that you gain, you have to give 1/5 of it, 20% of it. Ghanima means spoils of war. And then they continue. They say, if we look at the context of the verse, and if we look at the reason of revelation, sabab al-nuzul, and the context, we see that this verse is revealed in Surah Al-Anfal. And what does Anfal mean? Anfal means the spoils of war. When you engage in a war with the mushrikeen or the kuffar, the Anfal is what you gain from them. This verse, the previous verses before it is discussing spoils of war. The verses after it are also discussing the spoils of war. So this means this verse is also discussing the spoils of war. What does that have to do with the surplus of your income? What does that have to do with a businessman that's making a living and he has surplus from his income? For example, he's made $150,000 and he spent $120,000 on his expenses. 30% is the surplus of his income. What does this have to do with ghanima? Ghanima means spoils of war. This is the Sunni perspective regarding the verse on Khums. We come to our scholars and we come to our imams. We see that in our school of thought, we believe that no, ghanima is not just spoils of war. Ghanima is a general term for profit. Profit with a P-R-O-F-I-T, not P-H-E-T. Not profit as in messenger, but profit as in surplus. Why? First of all, because when we refer to the scholars of the Arabic language, Arabic linguists, we see that the word ghanima means any profit that you make, not just from spoils of war. Yes, spoils of war are the most famous kind of profit that you can make. But if you make profit at work, from your business, this is also in the Arabic language, it is called ghanima. When we refer to books on Arabic language, on Arabic vocabulary, for example, Taj al-Arus, Lisan al-Arab, Al-Ain, Majma' al-Bahrain, Al-Qamus, and so on and so forth. These are books that were put by experts on the Arabic language, like dictionaries. We see that the word ghanima means any sort of profit, not just spoils of war. And what is interesting is that Sunni scholars themselves, when they discuss the tafsir of this verse, they also say that ghanima has a general term. Ghanima is a general term. It has a general meaning. Any sort of profit, not just from the spoils of war. They themselves admit, such as Al-Fakhr al-Razi in his famous tafsir, such as Al-Alusi, such as Al-Zamakhshari in his tafsir Al-Kashaf. They admit that the word ghanima is a general term, has a general meaning for all profits, not just spoils of war. This is one. As for the context, as for the reason of revelation, correct. The reason of revelation, why was this verse revealed? Because of the spoils of war. However, the term is general. Because the term is general, the reason of revelation does not limit the general meaning of the word. In ilm al-usul, we say that sabab al-nuzul la yuhaddidu المعنى المطلق أو اللفظ المطلق. If we have a general term, but it was revealed for a specific reason, it is not limited to that specific reason, as long as the term is general. Is everyone following, or am I losing you? Inshallah, you're following me. Let me give you a few examples to make it clear. In the verse discussing fasting, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أيام معدودات فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين. And then the verse says يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر. The verse is basically saying that he who witnesses the month, let him fast. And he who is traveling or is ill, let them fast on other days. And those whom are old, if they cannot fast, let them give what? Fidya. And then the verse says, Allah wants ease for you, not difficulty. We come to this verse, this section. Allah wants ease for you, not difficulty. Just in fasting or in all aspects of faith and religion? We ask, is it Allah just wants ease for us and not difficulty, just in fasting or in everything? In everything. In everything. Yet this verse was revealed regarding fasting. Do you see the connection? Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ. Know that whatever you profit from, you have to give 1/5. But when was this verse revealed? At times of war. That doesn't mean that it's limited at times of war. And even the context. Even the context. The verse before it is addressing spoils of war, and the verses after it are also addressing spoils of war. It doesn't mean that this verse is limited to the spoils of war. I'll give you an example. The famous verse, آية التطهير. إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. صلوا على محمد. This verse, this section of the verse, it came in what context? The verses before it, whom is Allah addressing? The wives of the Prophet. The verses after it, whom is it addressing? The wives of the Prophet. Yet this verse is speaking specifically about the Ahlul Bayt. Thus the context does not limit the meaning of the verse. This is well known in ilm al-usul. In ilm al-usul. Both in our school of thought and their school of thought. We agree on this. That sabab al-nuzul and the context, as-siyaq, it does not limit the generality of the verse. So, وَعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُمْ. Ghanimtum means any profit that you make. Not specifically spoils of war. صلوا على محمد وعلى محمد. So we fixed one issue. We come to another issue. And I've seen that there are some followers of Ahlul Bayt that have raised this misconception. What is this misconception? That the verse mentions 6 categories. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ. 1/5 of it goes to Allah, وَلِلرَّسُولِ, to the Prophet, وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى, and to his kin, his family members, وَلِيَتَامَى, orphans, وَالْمَسَاكِينَ, the poor, وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ, poor traveler, a traveler who loses his money. But you Shia, you followers of Ahlul Bayt, you've limited Khums to 2 categories. Sahm al-Imam and Sahm al-Sadr. Where does the Quran say Sahm al-Imam? Where does it say Sahm al-Sadr? This is a misconception. And I'm sure that some of our youth are asked, or will be asked. Some people will tell them that your scholars are fooling you. They tell you that Khums is only 2 portions, while the verse is mentioning 6 categories. How did you make 6 into 2? Is it a good question? The answer. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The verse says, Inna lillahi khumsahu. To Allah goes 1/5. Let me ask you, how do we give Allah's portion? Do we send it by DHL or FedEx to Allah? How do we send Allah's portion? And Allah needs His portion for what? For clothing or for food? Allah doesn't need this portion. Allah's portion is spent on matters that satisfy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Islamic matters. And at the time of the Prophet, who would take Allah's portion? Who would spend Allah's portion? The Prophet, obviously. So, Allah's portion goes to the Prophet. We come to the Prophet's portion. At the time of the Prophet would take his portion. He would spend it on his needs. And then what is extra, he would also spend it on Islamic matters. On Islamic matters, on the government, on Muslims, on the poor, on the needy, mosques. This is Allah's portion and the Prophet's portion. When the Prophet passed away, his portion went to whom? Right now, when someone passes away, his wealth goes to whom? His inheritors, the heirs. And who are the heirs? The Ahlul Bayt. Thus, Allah's portion is spent by the Prophet. The Prophet spends his portion and Allah's portion. When he passed away, both of these portion goes to whom? The Ahlul Bayt, the Imams. That is only logical. It goes to the heirs, to the legitimate heirs. And then we have Lillahi khumsuhu. وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى. The family, the kin, the family of the Prophet, the kin of the Prophet, meaning the Ahlul Bayt. That means the Ahlul Bayt receive 3 portions. Allah's portion, the Prophet's portion, and their own portion. Is this clear? How the Ahlul Bayt receive 3 portions? They receive Allah's portion because Allah's portion is spent on Islamic affairs. And the Prophet's portion because they are the legitimate heirs. And they receive their own portion, Dhul Qurba, because they are the Dhul Qurba. That's 3 portions. That's half of the Khums. This is what we call Sahm al-Imam. Sahm al-Imam means the Sahm of Ahlul Bayt. Now, you would like to call it Sahm Dhul Qurba or Sahm al-Imam. It's the same. Because right now, at this time, there is only one Dhul Qurba. One legitimate heir to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And it is none other than Sayyidina wa Mawlana Sahib al-Asr wa zaman. This is Sahm al-Imam. These 3 categories, they all go to one, Sahm al-Imam, through the explanation that I made. Then we have the other 3 portions. وَلِلْيَتَامَى وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَلِيَتَامَى to the orphans, وَالْمَسَاكِينِ to the poor, وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ to the lost traveler, to the poor traveler. While we believe, we followers of Ahlul Bayt, we divide Khums into 2, Sahm al-Imam and Sahm al-Sada, to the poor Sayyids. But the verse doesn't say poor Sayyids. The verse says give these 3 categories to orphans, the poor, and to the lost travelers. Does it say Sayyids? Does the verse say Sayyids? No. Here we come to the Ahlul Bayt. The Ahlul Bayt tell us that these 3 categories go to the Sada, to the poor Sayyids. Meaning the orphans and the poor and the lost and the poor travelers whom are Sada. They have to be Sada. We have authentic, legitimate ahadith by the Ahlul Bayt. When they tell us, why do you give to the Sada? We tell them because the Ahlul Bayt say so. They tell us, well, why do you listen to the Ahlul Bayt? We tell them because Rasulullah told us to listen to the Ahlul Bayt. Because he told us, إِنِّي تَارِكٌ فِيكُمُ الثَّقَلَيْنِ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَعَتْرَتِي أَهْلَ بَيْتِي مَا إِن تَمَسَّكْتُمْ بِهِمَا لَن تَضُلُّوا بَعْدِي أَبَدًا. Rasulullah told us to refer to the Ahlul Bayt. And the Ahlul Bayt tell us that these 3 categories, from the poor and the orphans and the poor travelers, they have to be Sada. They have to be from the lineage of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Sallu ala Muhammad wa alayhi. Now do we see how Khums is divided? How these 6 categories are actually 2 categories? It's very clear. Now some might ask, isn't this a discrimination? Why is it the Khums, that half of Khums goes to the poor Sayyids? This is discrimination. Not everyone is a Sayyid. In fact, Sayyids are not even half of the population. They're a lot less. Maybe they're 10 or 20% of the Islamic population, the Muslim population. Why is it that we give them half of the Khums? Where's the equality in this? Where's the justice in this? The answer, number 1, you see, in Islam there's a balance. Zakat is haram on the Sada. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Islam has forbidden the Sadat, the Sayyids, from receiving zakat. So to make a balance, Allah has given them Khums. This is only fair. This is equality. This is justice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden them from receiving zakat, but has given them Khums. This is 1. Number 2, the Sadat that receive Khums are the ones that are poor, not all the Sadat. There are some that think as long as you're a Sayyid, you can take as much Khums as you want. Even if you're rich, even if you're a millionaire, you can take as much Khums as you want. No, this is not correct. Just because you're a Sayyid, it doesn't mean that you can receive Khums. If you're a Sayyid and you're poor, you can receive. You know, a lot of times when for example, I go shopping, and as a joke, I tell them, you know, do you have special discounts for Sayyids? And the shop owner says, yes, you know, I haven't paid my Khums, so I'll consider this Khums. Wait, hold on a second. Who told you I deserve Khums? I don't deserve Khums. You think any Sayyid that you see, you could give him Khums? No. Only the poor Sayyids. Only the poor Sayyids. Also, there's another misconception, that if you're a Sayyid yourself, you don't have to pay Khums. Well, this is beautiful. Who said this? If you're a Sayyid yourself, you don't pay Khums. No. If you're a Sayyid and you have surplus of your income, you also have to give Khums. Just because you're Sayyid doesn't mean you're exempt from Khums. Thus, there is no discrimination. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken away zakat from them, but given them Khums. And it's only for the poor. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now, some say Khums is wajib. Fine, we're with you. Khums is wajib and we have to pay Khums. But I'm sitting here in America and I've earned this money. Why is it that I have to give my Khums to a marja'? My marja' is sitting in Qom or in Najaf. My marja' does not even know my name. Doesn't even know me personally. Why should I give him my Khums? Why should I send my Khums overseas to a marja' that doesn't even know me? Why is this? The answer. First of all, the money that is, the Khums that is given to the marja' is only half of the Khums. Sahm al-Imam, not Sahm al-Sada. Sahm al-Sada goes to all the poor Sayyids, and you do not need to give it to the marja'. If you know of a poor Sayyid in your community, in your country, or any other country, as long as that Sayyid is poor, poor meaning what? Let's make this clear, because some people do not know what poor means. Poor doesn't mean he has to sit on the sidewalk and raise his hands. No. No. Poor means he is not making enough money to fill his expenses, to pay for his expenses. So let me give you an example. If his expenses annually are $20,000 and he's making $15,000, this person is what? This person is poor. Because he has a $5,000 deficit. From a religious point of view, he's poor. Thus, the portion that we send to our maraja' is not Sahm al-Sada. Sahm al-Sada, we spend it on the poor Sayyids that we know, or our family members know, in our country or in another country. Yes, for those that do not know any poor sayyids, you send it to the maraja. You send it to your marja, the one that you follow, because they know poor sayyids. The portion that you send to the marja is Sahm al-Imam. Why is it that we send Sahm al-Imam to our maraja? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala. As we said, Sahm al-Imam is the three portions. The portion of Allah, the portion of the Prophet, and the portion of the Imam. These, all three of them are called Sahm al-Imam. And how are they spent? They are spent on the Imam's needs, on the Prophet's needs, and what is extra, of course you only take some of his needs, and then the rest is spent on Islamic manners, as we shall talk about in a couple of minutes. Well, the Imam is not here. Right now, the Imam is not here. So who do you give the khums to? His portion, who do you give it to? If you owe someone money, and that person is not available, but has a representative, has someone representing him, is it not logical that you give that money to his representative? Isn't it logical? If Mr. X, you owe Mr. X, and Mr. X is not here now, he's missing, but he has a representative, and you didn't give the money to his representative. When he comes back 2 or 3 years later, will he not tell you, I had a representative? Why didn't you give my money to my representative who's representing me? Someone who I have appointed as my representative. Why didn't you give it to him? Can he tell you this or can he not? Of course he can. The maraja are the Imam's representatives. That is why we call the marja' na'ibul Imam. He's his representative. So obviously, if you can't give Sahm al-Imam to the Imam himself, you give it to his representative. This is one. Two, the maraja' know best how to spend Sahm al-Imam. They know better than me and you. Because Sahm al-Imam is supposed to be spent in a way to satisfy the Imam. It is spent in a way to satisfy the Imam. Who knows how to satisfy the Imam? We or his representatives? Of course the maraja, the representatives. They know how to spend the Imam in the proper manner, in the correct manner, to satisfy the Imam. Perhaps you and I, if we were to spend Sahm al-Imam, we might not spend it in a correct manner. We might not spend it in a way that pleases the Imam of our time. But the maraja', they will spend it in a way that pleases the Imam. They know how to spend and where to spend. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Question: how is khums spent? Some people say, I send my khums to Najaf and Qum and I don't even know how is it spent. This money that I work so hard on, I don't even know how is it spent. How is khums spent? Well, as for Sahm al-Sada, we said it goes to the poor, Sada. But how is Sahm al-Imam spent? Theoretically, how is it spent? Sahm al-Imam is spent on any way to support Islam and to defend Islam and to spread Islam. It is also spent on any way to defend Muslims and to support Muslims and to protect Muslims. Thus, if there are Islamic universities, Islamic colleges, hospitals, clinics, orphanages, Islamic centers, Islamic publications, printing of books, Islamic satellite channels, so on and so forth. These are all projects that support Islam, that help spread Islam. Khums is spent on this. One of the prominent ways that Sahm al-Imam is spent on Islamic seminaries. Islamic seminaries. We have so many seminaries. Look at the seminary in Najaf today. Or the Islamic seminary, Islamic Hawza in Qum, or Mashhad, or Karbala, or Isfahan, or Sayyidah Zainab in Damascus, and so on. How are these Islamic seminaries running, do you think? By governments? The local governments are sponsoring these Islamic seminaries? Or there's a specific president or prime minister or king? These seminaries, from the day that the Imam disappeared till today, for the past 13 centuries, they have been running on Sahm al-Imam. Sahm al-Imam is sponsoring and supporting our Islamic seminaries, and have kept our Islamic seminaries independent, and have kept our Maraji independent. And the students at Hawza and the Islamic seminaries, they're independent. Why? Because of Sahm al-Imam. Our Hawzas were never in need of a government, or a political party, or a president, or a king. Presidents came and went. Kings came and left. Governments changed, but our Hawzas remained. Why? Because of Sahm al-Imam. Why is it that our Maraji' can speak freely and not discouraged or afraid of certain governments or certain regimes? Because of Sahm al-Imam. Because of the blessings of Sahm al-Imam. Because we're independent. Have you seen any of our Maraji' that are afraid? None of them are afraid. Have you seen any of them that hide the truth? None of them. On the contrary, we've seen some of our Maraji' that have sacrificed their lives for Islam. Just look in Iraq in the past couple of centuries. Just look at Saddam. How many Maraji' did Saddam kill in Iraq? Starting with Al-Shaheed Al-Sayyid Muhammad Baqir Al-Sad, Al-Shaheed Al-Sayyid Muhammad Sadiq Al-Sad, Al-Shaheed Al-Shaykh Al-Gharawi, Al-Mirza Al-Gharawi, Al-Burujurdi, Bahr Al-Ulum. Only from the Hakim family, 50 were killed. Only from Bahr Al-Ulum family, 50 were killed. My own grandfather, Al-Shaheed Al-Sayyid Muhammad Sadiq Al-Qazwini, was killed. Why? Because we were never in need of governments. Our Hawzas were never in need of presidents or rulers. We have always been financially independent because of Khums, because of Sahm al-Imam. But when you look at other schools of thought, no, they are not independent. If you look at, for example, the Friday khutbah at Masjid al-Haram, he's reading off of a paper. And you know where this paper comes from? It comes from Wazarat al-Awqaf, the endowment ministry. The same thing in Egypt, Al-Azhar. The head of Al-Azhar. Who do you think is paying him? Where do you think he receives his paycheck? From the government. Same thing in Riyadh, same thing in everywhere else. Except our Islamic seminaries. No one pays us except Sahm al-Imam. Sahm al-Imam has kept our Hawzas alive and independent and objective and academic. Because we're never in need of anyone else. Question. Another question, another misconception that some raise. Is there corruption in Khums? Do some people misuse Khums? Are there some representatives and wakils that misuse Khums? Let us be objective and let us be honest. It is naive to say, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. It is naive to say that there is absolutely no corruption. This is naive. To say that the Khums system is perfect 100%, this is an exaggeration. And this is naive. And I will not stand in front of you today to make up a lie and to say that the Khums system is 100% perfect. However, our Maraji' try to keep it perfect. Our Islamic system, our Hawza system, our Maraji', they try to keep the Khums system as clean as possible. Yes, there are some that take advantage. There are some that misuse. There are some wukala. There are some representatives that misuse Khums. And unfortunately, they are giving some of the maraja' bad names. However, these are a minority. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. But the vast majority, I can safely say they are clean. And the khums money is being spent in its proper place. And it's going to the right person. Yes, once in a while there is someone corrupt. We will not deny this. In any system, in any government. Here in the US, there's no corruption. In other governments, there's no corruption. Yes, the vast majority, it's clean. But once in a while, you will get some people that are corrupt. No one is perfect. We don't have infallibles. However, there are some that wish to exaggerate. There are some that will come, they will write books, they will come on satellite channels, they'll even sit on the minbar of Aba Abdullah, and they will say that the khums system is completely corrupt. And we need to stop giving our khums to the maraja. Where is our khums money being spent? This is all corrupt. You know what the funny thing is? People like this who say this, I swear to you, he's never given khums in his life. Yet he comes and says, where's my khums money being spent? He's never given a dime to khums, yet he will complain, where's my khums money being spent? Yes, we will not deny that there is some corruption. But don't make a generalization. Don't accuse every wakil. Don't accuse every representative. There are some people out there that are pious. Some of our maraja', all of our maraja', without exceptions, they're pious. They're careful in how they spend their khums. Some of our maraja' don't own homes. They live off of rent. Them and their children and their grandchildren as well. Let's be careful when we make accusations against this system. Let's not try to destroy this system. This is the system that kept our houses alive. This is the system that has supported our school of thought for the past 13 centuries. Let's not weaken it. By weakening this system, we are weakening our faith and our school of thought and our religion. Let's be careful. I am shocked when I see some Muslim scholars, they come and sit on the minbar and they attack the khums system. And it is these same people that their blood and flesh has grown from Sahm al-Imam. Yes, we have one suggestion. We make one suggestion. We suggest to our dear scholars, to our dear maraja', whom we kiss their hands and we respect them and we obey them and we listen to them. We make a suggestion to them, and a suggestion to their offices, that use transparency. The khums money that comes in, that goes out, how is it spent? How is it being transported? It should be transparent. I suggest that all of the maraja' and their offices should have a website, just like here in America, most organizations, Islamic organizations or other organizations, even when it comes to the church or synagogues, they have websites and they use transparency. They show numbers and figures. This is how much we're receiving. This is how much we're giving. This is how much we're spending. And we're spending on these matters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Why? Not that we accuse our maraja'. Astaghfirullah. Absolutely not. But to not give room to accusations. Not to give room for those who wish to make accusations. We tell them, look, come to this website of this marja' and this marja' and look. Everything is transparent. Everything is clear. This is how much they're receiving. This is how much they're spending. If you like this suggestion, send a loud salawat. So my dear friends, should we pay khums? Absolutely. Because it's a religious duty. Paying khums is a religious duty. When you don't give your khums, that means the food that you eat, it's problematic. Because if you haven't given the khums on the food that you've eaten, this means it's haram. The water at home, if you haven't paid khums, your khums, and you're paying the water bill, and you're performing wudu and ghusl with this money, well, guess what? This is batil. If you haven't paid your khums and you've bought a house and you're praying at a place and you haven't paid its khums, then guess what? Your salah is batil. Thus paying khums is wajib, my dear friends. And it doesn't just affect our money, it affects everything. It affects all of our ibadat. All of our ibadat. Second, ahadith tell us that khums protects our money. It protects your money. When you pay your khums, you're protecting the rest of the money. You're protecting it. You're investing it. Those that do not pay khums, they lose their money one way or another. Either in a car accident, or they spend it on their health, or the government seizes their money, or they get audited. Something goes wrong. So how about we give our khums to avoid having our money taken in other ways? I know a person in one of the states here in America, millionaire, he refused to pay his khums. People would tell him, come and give your khums. He refuses. Until the government, the IRS, discovered that he hasn't been paying, or he's been doing tax fraud, they took $200,000 away from him. If you don't pay your khums, you're going to have to give it to the IRS. So which one do you prefer? Which one do you prefer? Khums protects our wealth. Also, realize that when you're giving khums, you're supporting those that are poor. Sayyid or non-Sayyid. Sayyid or non-Sayyid. When we give our khums, we're supporting the poor. We're supporting the needy. وَفِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ لِلسَّائِلِ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. Allah will ask us on the Day of Judgment, how did you spend your money? How did you spend your money? Did you give your money to the right places or not? And also, with our khums, and this is very important, with our khums we can support our Islamic centers and our Islamic organizations. If our organizations and Islamic centers, they receive ijazah from the maraja, and our maraja tend to give ijazah. If the board members, of the president, they go to the maraja in Najaf and they ask for an ijazah, they give. You tell them we have an Islamic center in New York, in Michigan, in California, in Texas, and we like ijazah for khums, the maraja, they give ijazah. With your khums, you can sustain your Islamic centers, your Islamic schools, your Islamic organizations. You can spend it on your own communities. وصلوا على محمد وآل محمد. The verse says, وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى. To the family. How many times does the Quran have to stress on the family? How many times? Doesn't the Quran say, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى? Say to them, Ya Rasulullah, that I ask no reward from you other than love my family members. Show them love. Show them love, show them respect. Love my family members. That was the only thing that Rasulullah asked. He didn't say, pay me, put me in a house, give me lands, give me wives, give me power, let me be a king. None of this. Just one. For 24 years of service that he served the nation, he just asked for one thing. قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. Now, we see what this nation did to his family. They really obeyed this verse. They really obeyed this verse. I imagine if this verse didn't exist, what would they have done to the family of Rasulullah? If Rasulullah had not asked them to love my family members, what would they have done? Then again, could they have done anything worse? If Rasulullah were to have stand in front of his nation and he would have said, kill my family members, oppress them, crush them, murder them, could they have done anything worse than what they did already? What did they do to Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam? What did they do to Amir al-Mu'mineen? What did they do to Imam al-Hassan? What did they do to Imam al-Hossein alayhi salam? Could they have done anything worse? If Imam al-Hussein was an atheist and his followers were atheists, would they have done worse to them than they already did? What did this nation do to the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi? And what crime had Imam Hussein committed? What was his crime? Imam al-Hussein wanted reform. Imam al-Hussein wanted to reform this ummah. that had went astray from the path of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah had put this ummah on one path, but I had taken a different direction. Imam Hussein wanted to bring it back on its path. أني لم أخرج أشرا ولا بطرا ولا مفسدا ولا ظالما وإنما خرجت لطلب الإصلاح في أمة جدي أريد أن آمر بالمعروف وأنهى عن المنكر. This was he announced his program. He announced his mission, that I want reform. I want to order what is good and forbid what is bad. Was this a crime? Yet they fought the Imam and they stood against him. Imam Hussein did have one crime. He had a crime. You know why they fought him? They told him why we fought you. نقتلك بغضا لأبيك. Imam Hussein had one crime. That crime was that his father was Ali ibn Abi Talib. If Imam Hussein, his father was someone else, do you think they would have killed him in this manner? But his crime was that his father was Ali and his mother was Fatima. This was his crime. On the day of Ashura, let's pass on the day of Ashura. Let's remember one of the jewels on the day of Ashura was a person who had recently converted into Islam. Wahab al-Kalbi. This person had just recently converted into Islam. He was Christian. He came to Karbala with his wife. He was a newlywed. Him and his wife were newlyweds. They had just gotten married and they spent their honeymoon in Karbala. What a beautiful honeymoon. What a place to spend your honeymoon. They came to Karbala on the day of Ashura when one companion after the other, they entered the battlefield. The mother of Wahab, she came to him. She told him, Ya Wahab, you see these men? They're offering their lives for Aba Abdullah. You're just going to sit there and watch? Join the battlefield. Wahab was about to enter the battlefield. He takes out his sword. He's about to enter. His wife comes to him. She tells him, Ya Wahab, we just got married the other day. You're about to make me into a widow? You're about to turn me into a widow? We just got married. Wahab doesn't listen to her. He enters the battlefield and he fights fiercely. Moments later, he hears his wife calling him. Oh, Wahab, come back. There's something I'd like to tell you. Wahab comes back to the tents. He comes back to the camp. He sees his wife for one last time. His wife tells him, Ya Wahab, I want you to go back into the battlefield. Don't come back to the camp. I want you to sacrifice your life for Imam Hussein. Wahab tells her, a few moments ago you were telling me not to fight. Why all of a sudden you've changed? She tells him, Ya Wahab, don't blame me. The crying of Imam Hussein has broken my heart. Ya Wahab, la talumni. إن واعية الحسين كسرت قلبي. Wahab tells her, my wife, what did you hear from Aba Abdullah? She said, Ya Wahab, he's standing at the door of the camp and he keeps on saying, ألا هل من ناصر ينصرنا ألا هل من ذاب يذب عنا. Go back into the battlefield and do not come back. Wahab enters the battlefield. He fights. Moments later, the Imam hears him saying, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Raise your hands in dua, brothers and sisters. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا عيبا إلا سترته ولا خوفا إلا منته ولا رزقا إلا بسطته ولا شملا إلا جمعته ولا مرضا إلا شفيته ولا غائبا إلا حفظته وأدنيته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة لك فيها رضا ولنا فيها صلاح إلا قضيتها ويسرتها يا أرحم الراحمين. ولأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء نقرأ سورة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
Everyone stay here, please. Sit down.